Hi, I'm Alan, and this is my channel. Alan talks about stuff.
One major thing for kids growing up in the 80s was the introduction of the video game. The first video game I ever came across was when my dad brought home an Odyssey 400 that he borrowed from his parents. The Odyssey 400 was a home video game system that plugged into your television set. It was just a white console with three knobs on both the left and right side. The console came with three games: hockey, tennis, and smash. The games were basically just early Pong, a bar with a bouncing ball. All our games were two-player games, and you had to have someone to play against. My next introduction to arcade games was when the local beer joint got three coin-operated arcade games. I believe one of the first was Space Invaders, and then later we got Donkey Kong. Normally on a Friday or a Saturday night, our family would go to town, get cheeseburgers and fries, and get a couple of dollars to play video games while my parents enjoyed a couple of beers. About this time, the Atari 2600 was introduced. It seemed like immediately all my friends got one of these, and it quickly became something I desperately wanted. After not getting it for Christmas, I was told by my parents I'd have to save my own money and get it for myself. For some reason, they didn't want to buy me one of these games. I grew up on a farm, so there was always something to do, and my dad would always pay me something if I helped out. So I saved every dime and nickel I could get my hands on. My birthday is in May, so after saving all my birthday money, I get some more bad news from my mom. Basically, my grandpa on my mom's side was a TV repairman, and he told my mom not to get an Atari because they were ruining TVs. He suggested to get an Intellivision. It was a different console with much better graphics, but at the time, Atari had deals with all the arcade companies. They had a version of Pac-Man, Space Invaders, etc., and television kind of just had knockoff games. Instead of Space Invaders, they had Space Armada. Instead of Pac-Man, they had a game like Lock and Chase. The setback was this game cost about an extra $100. In the early 1980s, $100 was a lot of money to an 8-year-old. So I went back to working and saving every cent I had to get me an Intellivision. Thanksgiving rolls around and my mom asks how much money I've saved. How close am I to having enough money? At the time I was like $40 away. My mom told me if I gave her the cash, she'd get me the game for Christmas, but I had to wait until Christmas. No early Christmas presents for me. Christmas Day finally comes around, and no surprise, I get my arcade game. I was the happiest kid in the world. What did surprise me, though, was I had another huge gift. Before I opened the second gift, my mom told me she bought the arcade game herself. The second gift was from all the money I gave her. I opened up the second box, and there's like 6 or 7 arcade games in there. She'd used my money to buy the games for the Intellivision. Another nice surprise was I had an uncle, and his wife got him an Intellivision for Christmas too. So she made sure she didn't get any of the same games I got, so we could exchange games and have plenty of games to play with. It all ended up being a pretty cool experience, and I learned a valuable lesson. Like, working for things suck. I loved my Intellivision, and I played it until it wore out. I eventually got older and grew into other things I loved doing. Being at this place and time in life, though, left a memorable impression on me. It's an experience people around my age got to experience, and it was one of the things that made being a kid in the 80s so great.
Once again, this is Alan. This is my channel. Alan talks about stuff. Thanks for watching.